Well, welcome everybody to another week of the Freedom Achievers. We do this every single Thursday. My name is David Kurz. I am the owner of the Freedom Organization. We're a coaching and consulting company. And every Thursday at 11 a.m., we do this free webinar for folks. We call it the Freedom Achiever Webinar. We have an online coaching platform. We call that the Freedom Achiever Academy. And also announcing June 20th, we have finally locked in the location. June 20th, we're going to be in Orlando, and we're going to have some special guests with us. And it is going to be an amazing day, guys. So that's going to be the Freedom Achiever Day. And so you want to go to freedomachieverday.com. Mike, if you want to put the link in the chat box. But Freedom Achiever Day is going to be pretty amazing. It's just going to go from 10 to 4. We locked in a place called the Citrus Club. It's a members only club in downtown Orlando. Good friend of mine's a member there. And so he hooked me up with the events manager. Events manager hooked me up with the whole ballroom, 3 walls of glass on the 18th floor overlooking Orlando. And on the other side of that, we got TVs across the wall where our presentations will be up. We're going to have a nice stage. We have a nice presence. We're going to have good music. We're going to have great speakers. I mean, great speakers. And we're going to be covering on that day, we're going to be very heavily focused on using AI in your business, right? So using AI in real estate and how that's going to help you win. Because if you've ever watched my reels and stuff like that, you'll hear me constantly say, AI is not going to take our jobs. The folks who are using AI are going to take the jobs of the people who refuse to take a step ahead, right? It's just like back in the day when the iPhone came out and people were like, nah, I'm good with my flip phone, right? Okay, stay with the flip phone, but I got a mini computer in my pocket, right? I'm going to get ahead, you know? And I could take it even back even further, like people that were still sending faxes when emails came out because they didn't trust the email. They thought the email was going to get lost in the cyber universe, right? That's where we are today. And luckily enough, most of us have been alive long enough to see all this progress happen, right? Eventually, at some point, progress is going to take a big slowdown, and we're just going to be stuck in this particular world that we're in, right? Like, let's face it, we're on iPhone 15 coming out soon. It hasn't changed in like 5 years, right? It's iPhone 10 or X or whatever it was, looks exactly like iPhone 15. Okay, there is no major difference. So technology is taking a slowdown, but when you start to see what's happening with AI, AI has been around for a really long time. We've been using it without knowing. The difference is that we have been paying other people or programs online to be able to use the technology. Now the technology is public. So now any one of us could get on ChatGPT or the numerous AI platforms that are out there. So we got Pavan Agarwal that's going to be coming in. He's the owner of a tech company that owns Morgan AI, which is a mortgage AI, which is nuts, right? Because like it replaces the loan officer and the underwriter. It's insane, okay? And any one of us could use it, which is the craziest part. Then we've got we have some mindset speakers on. Tanya's on right now. She's going to be on stage that day. We've got Sam Chauhan coming on board. I'm going to be on the stage as well. Obviously, we got Tony Martinez coming to talk about market conditions and where they're going. He's the owner of the CDPE certification, which is the Certified Distressed Property Expert. So guys, just come out, man. It's like $99 at general admission, like seriously, for a whole day. And that includes lunch, which is even crazier, right? So, and it's going to be a working lunch, ladies and gentlemen. So you go stand up, you go get your lunch, you go come back, and we're going to go all in again. All right. So we're going to have fun that day. Go ahead and check us out. Now, first thing we do when we get into this webinar every single Thursday, 11 a.m., we're here. We go straight to the chat box. First thing we type on there is, it's a Freedom Day. Thank you, Sarah. You're going to go ahead and type in there, it's a Freedom Day. Now, those of you that are new to our attendance, typically we explain this. Why do we go in there and type, it's a Freedom Day? Thanks, Christine. What we do is we're getting you guys to take action right from the jump. You didn't come here to learn something new so you could waste it. You came here to learn something new so you could use it. And why are you using what you're going to learn today so you can better your business? Why are you trying to better your business? Because you want to better your life. What are you looking for? Freedom, baby. Financial freedom, location freedom. Like, think about all the freedoms that you desire in your life. all of this, these steps right here, making your life better, whatever that means to you, by the way, because some people's freedom comes at $60,000 a year, and some people's freedom comes at $60,000 a day. So it's whatever level you want to be at, that's on you. No one should ever judge what you decide to do with your business, right? So it's definitely Freedom Day. Today, we're going to talk about something really cool. Today, we're going to talk about the recession. We're going to talk about how to become recession-proof. Now, this would be a big topic on June 20th in Orlando, but we're going to give like a mini course right now. And we're going to talk about what happens with businesses during a recession. So I want you guys to give me your feedback. Go to the chat box real quick. Type in the chat box, what do you think happens to businesses during a recession? I'm watching. What you guys got? Cutbacks, that's one. Fire employees, Julio, that's true. Zero layoffs, true. We're kind of all leaning in the right direction here, or the same direction. Possible closing, that's true. Shut down. So Tiffany and Sarah came out same time, same thing, right? Either grow, pivot, or quit. That's another one. All right. So we're going to talk about that. Maida says opportunities. All right. So those, look, check this out, guys. Guy says, or Courtney says, good ones grow, right? Now, I want you to see what happened here. This is a perfect example of what will really happen during the recession. Companies that did not prepare for the recession will close. They'll have to cut back. They'll have to fire employees. They'll have to change their businesses, right? And then companies that prepared for the recession will grow and more than likely buy out those other companies for pennies on the dollar, right? Now think about this for a moment. When the market crashed, 2008, when the market crashed and it had completely fallen apart, there was a group of individuals that did really, really, really well. Who do you think that was? That was the investors. How did they become investors? Well, they became investors because they made a lot of right moves during the good times and they put away a lot of money. Other folks made a lot of right moves during the good times and bought Ferraris and Lamborghinis and yachts and condos and everything, all the shit that they had to give up in 2008 and turned back to the bank, right? But the other folks, the ones that prepared, well, they came in and they bought $900,000 condos in Miami Beach for $100,000. Okay? They bought multi-million-dollar homes on the water for $150,000. 200,000. Here's the crazy part. Because they were so prepared, they could come in, prep those homes, fix them, and everyone that was losing their homes to the banks had to rent those places. Now they got tenants, right? These people were born out of the recession. These people saw the recession coming. They said in their heads, this can't last forever. And then boom, here we are. In 2000, there was a recession. In 2008, there was a market crash. Here we are, 2023, facing a recession. Crazy thing. I'm going to give you a stat that not a lot of people think about. The recession, the average recession time is about 17 months. When you think of what that means it's not a very long time. So basically what I'm telling you is if you're prepared, all you got to do is last an average of 17 months when the recession begins officially. And then you'll be able to fight your way through it. And you'll come out the other side of this recession with a few scars, a few scabs, a couple black eyes. But guess what? You still be standing. You still be in business, right? And so I want to tap on that a little bit because what happens is you're going to lose leads. Right? Because people are not going to be looking for your business as much as they were 2 years ago. We already see that now. 2020, COVID happened. COVID had what we consider to be an adverse reaction on the market. What does that mean? COVID was supposed to shut us down. Instead, COVID turned the market on and just like it wasn't a faucet. It was a freaking fire hydrant. Like water was just blowing out into the street. Right? That's what happened. That's what COVID did. So then I had a great conversation with an analyst, and her name is Anna. And Anna said, COVID is in comparison to every world war that we have ever been involved in. I said, explain that to me. She said, World War I, we sent our soldiers out. The nation suffered. When the war was over, we blew up as a market. World War II, we sent our soldiers out. Markets suffered because we were all concerned about the safety of everybody. But what was happening during that time? People were getting tight with their money. The government was making better decisions. Hopefully, things were moving in a better direction. They were concerned. People came back. War was over. Market blew up. It was strong, right? Same thing happened with COVID. COVID came, everything shut down. Government was losing their mind. They didn't know what to do, right? They thought, A, everybody's gonna die, or B, we're gonna have a zombie apocalypse, right? Like nobody knew it was gonna happen, right? And then what happened to the market? It got strong. It blew up. People were born in it, right? The problem is that people were born in an easy time. Hear me out real quick. People were born in an easy time. Did they need to truly understand sales skills? Yes or no in the chat box. Type that in there. Did they have to understand sales skills in 2020 and 2021 to sell houses? No. Guy says no, Lamar says no, right? You didn't need any skills to sell a house in 2020. You just needed a heartbeat. That was it. You showed up, you wrote a contract, you submitted it. Wish you luck because there's 30 more, right? Folks that had no money before COVID, right? The folks that would sit across from you at the closing table and go, hey, man, the title company's telling me I got to come up with another $600. I ain't got another $600. We're all of a sudden coming up with $40,000, $50,000 over appraised value. Market was good. You didn't need to do anything. All you had to do was submit contracts or put a home on the market. You put a home on the market, the hardest day of putting a home on the market was the open house. That was it, because you had 700 people lined up around the corner. And you had to repeat the same thing a million times. This is the kitchen, the bathroom, right? And that was the hardest time. But now what's happening? We have a lot less buyers on the market. Inventory is still tight. So we have a lot less sellers in the market too. So what do you have to do to get better at this? The answer is master sales. Get significantly better at selling, and it will change everything. Here's the thing. If you have 1,000 leads coming in every month, you don't need a lot of skills to close 1, 2, 3. You don't. But when 1,000 leads during a recession turns into 300 leads, well, what does that leave you with if you were only doing 1, 2, 3 conversions out of 1,000 leads? What do you think happens when you only got 300? You might not convert at all. You'd be lucky to convert 1. So how do you change that? You got to master sales. So the first thing that we talk about in mastering sales is conversations. You got to get better at your conversations, right? You got to get better at connections, and you got to get better at relationships. So I'm going to bring Julio up real quick. Julio, you're going to be my guest today, man. We're just going to talk about what we talked about a little bit today. So, sure. So Julio and I get on this morning, and he starts telling me about another coach, and we start talking about what he talks about. And I'm a total nerd, guys. I love the conversation of psychology and sales. Like, I love it, man. Like, for me, I'm the guy who sees a video about some psychological sales technique, and I'm like, ooh, I can't wait till somebody tries this on me. You know what I mean? And so when I hear it, it's like you know, when the dog hears a noise and the ears go up and they're like this and shit, that's how I am, right? And so then I go into technique. I'm like, whoo, and I move into it. And then you walk away and you go, oh my God, that worked. That worked, right? And so here's the crazy part. Let's talk about conversations. Leads are coming in and you can't get to the leads. You know you got the right number. You know it's the right person. You got their email. They're not answering you. They're not doing anything like that. They don't even want to talk to you. The question is, Do they or don't they? This person registered on your ad. They registered on your website. They registered somehow. That's how you got their name and number to begin with. So the answer is yes, they want to talk to you. It's the folks that mindset turns on and goes, well, I tried 3 times. They don't really want to talk to me, and they quit. Right. And it goes back to what somebody else put. Tanya wrote, you're going to either grow, pivot, or quit during a recession. Right. And so you quit. That's the average person, by the way. Like 98 people out of 100 go, I tried them 3 times. I don't want to bother them. Bother them? You got a mortgage payment person? Let's go. Bother them every day, twice a day, right? Send a text message, make a phone call, leave a voicemail, send a video text, send an email, put them on an email drip campaign, make it automated. Make the automation with email and text. Bam, bam, hit them every day, until they tell you to stop or they go, hey, I'm ready now. Either way, guess what? You got a response, right? So Julio and I were talking today. He's got a couple leads that he's trying to touch base with, and he was watching this coach that really digs into the psychological part of sales. And Julio, tell us what happened. Like, tell us what you did, and like start from the beginning. Like you were trying to reach this person. How did you get the lead to begin with?
Well, the lead came into the LPT, the home value leads that we get.
Okay.
So I started reaching out to her. So I called the first day we spoke. She told me about her story that she was pre-approved before, and now she needed to get pre-approved because she might qualify for a higher payment and whatnot. So I said, okay, let's get in touch with the lender, and that was a conversation. After that, I kept calling her back, and then like 2 days later, I call her back. She texts me a day later. She texts me, "I'm busy at work. I can't talk right now." So okay. So the next day, I follow up in the morning. She didn't answer. And I called her and texted her. Then the next day, the same thing. I called and texted. She didn't answer. So I went back to the psychology of that been watching with this guy. His theory, his way of focusing it. I went in and I said, I'll read you the text right now. Say, hey, good morning. This is on Monday. He says, good morning, Diana. Happy Monday. Hope you're all is well with you and your family. I didn't hear back from you last week, and I'm starting to worry. Let me know if there's anything that I can help you with. Thanks. Well, she didn't answer that Monday. I went back on Tuesday. I called her. She didn't answer, so I sent her another text. I said, hey, Diana, I keep trying to reach you, but you don't respond. Are you okay? Should I worry? Bam. A minute later, she answers back. She says, hi, sorry, I've been busy. So I got her to react to my text somehow. So the psychology was maybe she was thinking, he's worrying about me. Let me answer.
Right. And so here's the thing, right? You are in this position where you're trying to sell something, and they know you're trying to sell something. And so they will answer you when they're ready. We don't know when that's going to be. But Julio decided to flip the script. He decided to make it less about sales and more about them. Does that make sense to you guys? Yes or no in the chat box? Does it make sense to you to make it less about sales and more about them? Less about selling them a house or getting them pre-approved and more about them? Debbie says yes. Maida says yes, right? This is where the money's at, folks. This is where the money's at. So when we wrote conversation, connection, and relationship, we said first, you gotta begin the conversation. When you begin the conversation, you need to learn how to consistently connect. That's what Julio was doing. He was reconnecting with her. He said, hey, listen, I've been trying to reach you. I haven't heard back. Now I'm a little bit worried. Is everything okay? Right? Super simple text, by the way.
I also did it with another lead. Let me find it here. I'll tell you about it. Let me see if okay.
And while he's looking for that lead, what did he get from the consumer? What did he get from the potential client? He got an answer. He woke him up, got him to respond. That's where we're at, right? You found it?
Yeah, I got it. So this lead, I made a conversation with him. So I started texting him and calling him. He ghosted me. So I kept going, hey, give me the address because we're supposed to meet at for a listing appointment. So I kept telling myself, hello, David, I've been trying to reach you, but I haven't had success. Are you still on Tuesday, whatever? So don't worry, text me your address.
And this is a
Yeah,
potential
no,
listing.
yeah. On this one, no, on this one, I didn't. He replied. I just kept going. Basically, I didn't use that psychology, but I just kept going and I kept going and I kept going and I kept calling him. I kept going until he responded. You
All
know.
right, so let's go with this. We're going to talk about this real quick. So we got conversations, connections, and relationships. So let's talk about the connections real quick, and we're going to bounce into this, right? One tip: ask questions.
Yes, definitely.
So a lot of sales professionals are proud of what they've been able to accomplish in their lives, right? When you're an accomplished sales professional, you're proud of that. Here's what happens though. You start talking about that like there's no tomorrow, right? And we forget that we should be concerned with the consumer, the client, the person that actually reached out to us for our professionalism more than being on stage and saying, look at me and look at who I am. And I'm so freaking awesome. And I sold this many houses and I have this much revenue and these many people like me. And I have this many followers on Instagram and blah, 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 blah. You're throwing up all over them, right? We need to ask more questions, right? Because we need to listen
Yes.
more
Definitely.
and speak less. Right? You agree with this, Julio, right?
Yep. Just like I was telling you this morning, and the calls, I get everybody gets the calls, right? I'm selling solar panels. I'm selling like whatever they're selling. They get on the phone with you and they chew your ear before you could even say hello. And I tell them when they're done, I tell them, hey, listen, stop. Do you know if I need what you're selling or not? Can you get on the phone and call me and say, hey, listen, Julio, are you in need of this, that, or the other before I could, if I say, yes, I'm in need to, then tell me what you're selling because I'm not interested if you just throw it at me. And they look
Right.
back and they say, they say, oh, you're right. You're right. I go, of course, you just spent about a minute telling me what you're selling. Then I don't care what you're selling because I don't need it.
Right.
So why don't you
Right.
ask me if I need it first?
Questions. That's asking questions. Understanding the needs and desires of the consumer. So the other day, my wife and I were having a conversation and we were talking about coaching techniques, right? And by the way, coaching techniques are not very different than sales techniques, right? And so we started discussing methods of pulling information from people. And oftentimes coaches will spend a lot of time giving advice, less time trying to pull information from their client. So when I sit with somebody wants to coach with me one-on-one, one of the things that we discuss right away is, hey, listen, I'm happy to be your advisor, mentor, everything under the sun. But the truth is, I'm really a guide. My job is to get you to come up with the good decisions. Think about that for a minute. In order for me to get my clients to come up with their own decisions so that they feel great about the next steps that they're making, because if I tell you, go do this, yeah, you'll go do it because you pay me every month to coach you, so you're going to go do it. If not, you're wasting money, right? But if I turn around and I make it your decision, if I can pull the information from you and then we come up with an idea together that you initiated, don't you feel better about going to coach? Don't you feel better about going to make it happen, taking action in the activity that we're discussing? Same thing for a consumer, right? Same thing for a consumer. If you ask them the right questions and you get to their, what we call pain points, then you can work off the pain points to help them achieve their goals. So ask more questions, listen more, speak less. Those are the biggest tips that I'm going to give you on connecting relationships.
Yeah, sales is knowing when to shut up.
I love that, bro. I love that. Sales is knowing when to shut up, right? Look,
Yeah.
relationships, we're going to talk about heart real quick, man. Like, I'm a big believer that relationships are built from the heart. You got to actually love what you're selling and what you're doing in order to create relationships with people to get them to achieve the goals that they desire, right? If I don't enjoy selling cars, I am going to be a car salesman. I'm going to go out there and this Toyota is the best Toyota in the whole world, guaranteed 100,000-mile chassis, blah, blah, blah. People don't understand any of that shit. And honestly, they don't really care. They want to know, is it going to protect my family? Is it durable? And can I get back and forth to work and stuff like that? Like, that's why people buy transportation, right? Move the kids around, get back and forth to work, right? And so if I'm in this particular transportation, am I safe? Am I covered? Where the airbags at, right? But a person who enjoys selling cars cares more about the people. You got to love what you do, right? They care about more about the people. So that car salesman comes out and says, hey, what is it that you're looking for? What's important to you? You got a big family, you got to move around every once in a while, right? Do you live in terrain area or in the city? Like, all of these are important questions, because I'm not going to sell a Toyota Corolla to somebody who lives out in the farmland who has to drive 3 miles on a dirt road. They're going to destroy that car. I'm going to look at them and say, hey, look, let's go take a look at this SUV that's a little bit higher, or this pickup truck, right? Depending on what it is that they have. If they got 6 kids, let's go look at the SUV, because they ain't going to fit in the pickup truck unless you put them in the bed. Right? These are the things that we need to ask questions about. So consistently building the questions up helps us build the relationship. The relationship is about knowing your customer, knowing their pain points, knowing their desires, knowing what they want out of what it is that you're selling, knowing their name, knowing their spouse's name, knowing their kids' names, right? Now you're asking me, hey, Dave, how am I supposed to know everybody's name that I am speaking with? And the answer is simple. Use your CRM, folks. I know it's a crazy thing. Comes free with most of your brokerages. If you can't afford a CRM, go to Google, start a free Google account, and go to Google Sheets and start a spreadsheet. Simple. And make as many notes as you can for every client that you speak to. Because the next time that you need to call that person and follow up with them, the smart thing to do is go to your notes and read everything so that you can have a more educated conversation. Like, hey, how's little Bobby? Is Bobby feeling okay? I remember he was sick the last time we spoke. Doesn't that go a long way, right? Hey, by the way, how's everything going? Oh, my mother's a bit ill. I can't really talk on the phone right now, this and that and this. Okay, no problem, man. I totally understand. I hope that everything's going to be okay with mom. I got a mom too. I know what that's like. All right, guy, take care. Hang up the phone, go to Amazon, buy some flowers, send it to the house for mom. Text them later on, because you're going to get an alert when it's been delivered. Text them later on and let them know, hey, I just want to make sure you got the flowers, making sure everything's okay. That's relationship building. What Julio did by saying, hey, are you okay? Yes, it's a sales tactic. Yes, there's psychological aspect behind it. Yes, both clients answered. Yes, he's building relationship with them. He's building relationship with them. So let's talk about mission number 1. The entire thing that you're doing, right, in these phone calls and these sales tactics and everything that comes to blast is getting in front of the client. That is your entire mission. When you get a lead, when you get a referral, when you get a new person in front of you, your entire mission is to get in front of the client. I don't like building relationships over the phone or by text unless I absolutely have to, right? Because I believe that the relationship is built 33% visual, 33% touch, and 33% sound. What do I mean by this? If I send you a text message, did I achieve any of this? Absolutely not.
No.
But if I talk to you on the phone, well, I've achieved sound. But now I'm only 33% in. If I send you a video text with me saying, hey, Kathy, how you doing, man? Good to see you, blah, blah. Glad we got on this phone. We were able to talk, blah, blah, blah. See you soon. 6 seconds, 7-second video. Didn't take a whole lot of effort. You didn't need lighting or any of that bullshit. You just needed your phone, your arm stand, and a voice. If you do that, you achieve sound and visual. You only have one thing left, and that's the mission. Get in front of the daggone client. And now you got touch. Now I get to walk up to Kathy, shake her hand, and say, hey, complete pleasure to meet you. Right? Now, with touch, visual, and sound, it is up to you to develop the content, to develop the relationship, to guide them in the right direction. How can I help you? How can I help you? This is where you're going to stand out. This is where you're going to make it better. The next thing I'd like for you guys to do, and I'm going to give you a mission for the week, okay? Because I promise you right now, everything we're discussing right now will absolutely 100% make you recession-proof. If you could master these things, when your leads go from 1,000 to 300, you won't be converting 1 or less. You'll be converting 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. And that's how you step up. Here's the crazy part. If you could punch your way through a recession and you can create a bigger business during a recession, when you come out of the recession, your business is going to be insane. It is going to just take off. Wings are going to open up. It's going out of control, and you're going to be prepared for that because you've got the sales techniques. And then you come back to me. We'll talk about hiring staff and building a team and doing all that great stuff, right? What I want you guys to do is I want you to audit your sales bucket, okay? Now, let me explain what the sales bucket is. The sales bucket begins with marketing. Then there's lead generation. Then there's lead conversion. Then there's client conversion. Then there's contract. There's sale. There's close. And then there's repeat. What I want you to do is I want you to look at each of these and honestly, like, take a screenshot right now so you guys see this. Do whatever it takes to capture this. But I want you guys to look at this week. And I want you to decide, I want you to look at what you're doing for marketing. And is it actually generating leads? I want you to look at how else you lead generate and what's working and what's not working. Then I want you to look at the conversion. This is a lot of what we talked about today, right? Am I converting a lead to conversation? This is not lead to client. This is lead to conversation. Am I able to converse with them and have successful conversation with them? And then am I able to now convert them to a client? Then now they're working with me 110%. They're not working with anybody else. We're married. We're getting together. We're running around. And then I put them under contract. How successful am I at putting them under contract? Then once we're under contract, how successful am I at completing the sale, getting to the closing table, right? How great am I at that, right? Because there's a process, right? You get them under contract, and then there's 30 days of mayhem, right? So you get them under contract, and then you have to actually complete the sale. Then you get to the closing table, and sometimes the closing table is scary because everybody goes to the closing table happy. They go to the closing table nervous. And if anything's wrong on the paperwork, whoop, freak show happens, right? And then once you've been able to accomplish all of this, how great are you at repeating business? Meaning referrals, meaning they come back to you, right? And all of this requires a specific level of expertise, right? So marketing, how? lead generation from where? Lead conversion. This is from lead to conversation. Client conversion, showings, showing the product that you sell. Contract, getting them to sign, to agree. Sale, processing the sale. Close, getting them to the closing table and finishing. And then repeat. Do they come back? And do they refer you? Now, what I mean by audit this, right? Audit it means I want you to closely examine each one of these steps and you and your personal process. I want you to examine how good and how bad you are at each of those steps. And I want you to be really honest with yourself. Really honest with yourself. I want you to be true to you. I want you to be able to say to yourself, I freaking suck at converting to clients. So how am I going to get better at that? Right? I suck at converting lead generation into conversations. Right? Or I can get them under contract that just have no idea what the process is. There's that too. Right? I can get them to the closing table and everybody's super happy and we drank champagne and we ate cake and we had such a great time at the closing table, but then I never hear from them again. When you're great at this during the good times, in the bad times, they will come back to you. In the bad times, they will refer you business. In the bad times, you have to do a lot less marketing, a lot less lead generation because it will come to you. Would you not rather attract the business than hunt for the business? So we all got to hunt that first, right? Any deer hunters out there? I know I'm asking crazy questions. I don't hunt deer, but any deer hunters out there? All right, Courtney's a deer hunter. Tiffany's a deer hunter, right? Once upon a time, you had to track deer and hunt them with bow and arrow. Then a rifle came out. And you still had to track deer and hunt with a rifle. Then feeders came out. What happened? Hunters were like, why are we tracking hoof marks? I'm just going to put food out. Let them come eat and enjoy the space. And I'm going to let them chill for 6 months. And I'm going to leave and come back and then plop from a tree. Right? And that is where you and your business needs to go. Put the relationships out. That's the food. Create the relationships. Those are the pebbles. That's the food. That's people keep coming back to you. They enjoy being around you. They enjoy sending you business because you make them look good, right? Every time they refer you, their friends come back to them and go, oh my God, she was so awesome. She was so awesome. Wait till you see my new house, my new car, my new mansion, my new waterfront, my new boat, like whatever it is. Every time. When that happens and they get that feedback, oh, they just want to do it again. The trick to that is making sure that you're in front of them consistently. You can't sell somebody something and then never talk to them again. You got to call them all the time. You know their birthday. I mean, you had to collect their driver's license to sell them a house. Call them on their birthday. They married, they got an anniversary. Ask them for it. Call them on their anniversary. They got kids, their kids got birthdays. Call them on their kids' birthdays. Do you know how many of y'all parents? Go ahead and type in the chat box. Me. Just type me. How many of y'all parents? Tiffany, Guy, Julio, Leslie, most of us. I got 4. I got 4 daughters, guys. Floyd's, All right. So a lot of parents, right? Camilla says, boy, mom. All right. I see what you did there. I got 4 daughters and you threw out the boy, mom. I got you. Listen, I've learned a long time ago, there is nothing better than being a girl dad. Okay. So I'm going to put that out there. Check this out. As a parent, you more than likely own a car. The guy that sold you your car, chances are, never called you again, right? 6 months into your car, did they call you and say, hey, how's the car riding? Are you happy? What's going on? Do you need anything? Do you want me to get in touch with maintenance to see if your maintenance is good to go? Did they do any of that? Chances are no, right? Now, let me ask you this question to all the parents in the room. If the person who sold you the car called you on your child's birthday to tell you that they're wishing your child a happy birthday, how important would that be? How important would that be to you? Chat it in the box. How important would that be to you? Would you remember this person? Would you appreciate this person? If somebody said to you, oh my God, I like your car, would you not say to them, I got a guy? It makes a world of a difference. So why don't we do it more? I mean, you got to learn the child's birthday, but their birthday, you got that on their driver's license. Addresses, that's on the final closing statement. Now, I'm going to give you one more tip and I'm going to let you guys go. And this is my tip that I only give every once in a blue moon, okay? In real estate, you are not allowed to communicate with the other realtor's client, correct? Give me a thumbs up for those with the camera. We don't have to go to chat box, right? Because that's the other realtor's client, and ethically, you should not be communicating with them, right? But when the property closes and the deal is done, are they still that realtor's client? Yes or no? Chat it in the box. Yes or no? Are they still that realtor's client? The answer is no. They are not. The deal is done. Ethically, they are no longer in need of a real estate agent, and ethically, you can communicate with them. And guess who has all the information? The title company. Now you got addresses, names. You're going to get all of this, by the way, right? If you had the seller and the buyer's moving into the property you sold them, you know the address, you know their names, it's on the contracts, on the closing statements, everywhere. The only thing you're missing is their phone numbers, right? Would it hurt you 30 days down the road to go to that house that you sold to the new buyers, knock on their door and say, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but I was the agent that sold this house to you guys. And I just wanted to see, how's it going? Would it hurt you to do that? Probably not. Would it hurt you to put those folks in your CRM? Probably not. Now, I learned this from a guy many years ago, who now that particular agent sells about 300 million a year. Okay. I learned this from him in a conference. I sat in one of his private classes and I came up to him afterwards and I was like, man, that's like, it's a little weird, isn't it? He goes, no, it's not. He goes, I'm going to tell you why. Majority of agents never, ever call their clients again. So he said, you know what happens? People call me and say, hey, I was wondering if you could list my house for sale. I'm ready to sell. And he would look in his CRM and realize that that client was on the other side of the deal. And he would ask them, hey, just out of curiosity, why didn't you call the agent that helped you buy the property? I appreciate you calling me, but just out of curiosity, why didn't you call them? You know what the answer was? I thought you were my agent. Think about that for a minute. He did so well communicating with them, and the other side did so poorly staying in connection and building that relationship that they completely forgot about the other person. In their brains, That other person was completely replaced with this new silhouette of a person that consistently stays in communication with them. Birthday cards, phone calls, emails, text messages, drop-bys. Think about that for a minute. That's a hell of a way to double your business real quick. Real quick. Again, it's all about the relationships. Now listen, if a recession comes and it hits really, really, really hard, we're going to go from this many agents to this many agents, and then this many agents. I want you guys to be a part of the this many agents. I want you guys to be a part of the agents that stick around, that fight the fight, that stay involved, that stay educating themselves, that stay forward thinking, that stay innovative marketing, that stay in the right mindset. And one of the things that I challenge you guys to do when you do this right here is I challenge you to educate yourself on wherever it is that you feel like you're failing. Education's out there. I have a full academy that teaches all of this stuff online, freedomachieveracademy.com. Right? Mike, can you put the link for the academy up there? And if you don't go to my academy, I promise you, you go to YouTube and type converting leads into clients, and you're going to have everybody and their mother with videos on YouTube teaching it.